Look, one, you have to realize, let's say I was thinking about that. Then it would undermine what I'm doing. I'm running for president. I'm doing pretty well. I'm in third. So, no, I'm running for president in the Republican Party. I'm doing very well. And last time they wondered about it. But, the whole thing is, boy, the people are really frustrated. You go to New Hampshire, there are more independents than Republicans or Democrats.
Well, that's true.
Well, how about this?
Yeah, so there it is.
But what you're saying is you are not saying that you will not run as an independent.
What I say is that I have no plans to do it.
So how about, are you big on pledges? Would you pledge here tonight that you would not run in a third party?
I pledge that I have no intention of doing it.
All right.
I'm running for this Republican primary.
Pretty political, Congressman.
Well, I have to vacillate a little bit in my life.
Okay.
You need a grammarian who'll work on that sentence.
See?
I wanted to revisit our discussion about Osama bin Laden and the Taliban. After the raid, you said this: we've created a lot of enemies because that's what the Taliban is all about. They're organized and they're motivated by the fact that we're occupying their land. Which land? Which Taliban land were we occupying on 9/11?
On 9/11, we had a major air base in Saudi Arabia, and they wrote and talked about it, and they complained about it.
But the Taliban, not in Afghanistan.
No, just America's in the Middle East on their holy land, which aggravated the Al-Qaeda at that time. Now, the Taliban's a little bit different because their goal is not to come over here. Al-Qaeda will come over here. So that's quite a bit different. But Talibans are, people who want to just get us out of their country. That's why it's Afghanistan and all. But, we went into Iraq. There was no Al-Qaeda there, and they're there now. Everybody recognizes that there's not a huge number, but there are probably hundreds of Al-Qaeda. They weren't there before. The Christians have been run off from Iraq, and now Iraq is much closer to Iran than ever before. So I don't think there's much victory there.
Well, there were Al-Qaeda in Iraq beforehand, but I won't. I'll let Charles ask that. We could do a 3-hour debate on that, but I'll let Charles go next.
All right, Congressman, 1 + 1 equals 2. That's this person's login. What area of policy are you weakest in?
What area? Well, I only have one subject that I'm interested in, and I don't consider myself weak, and that is the defense of liberty, because I think that's what America is all about, and I know what it is. I know what it means to be free and what civil liberties mean and what it means to the free market, and also it advises about our foreign policy. At the same time, the founders understood this very clearly, and they wrote a document which, fortunately for me, endorses the idea of individual liberty. So it's individual liberty I feel very strong in. I would say my weakest trait would be that I could always improve on my delivery, and convince people. But young people with more open minds and open hearts, they seem to understand what I'm saying.
You did well in the delivery of that non-pledge.
Mike in Bogota writes, what is your stance on global warming? Man-caused?
Partially, but I think the radical environmentalists have taken it over. Just recently, some major publications and university reports on this that, to me, are very, very strong. And these are scientists that says that it's been way overblown. So I write about that in the book, but think that the environmentalists take advantage of it. But to say that man doesn't contribute, but the statistics that show long term, hundreds if not thousands of years, we're not about to melt. Besides, one thing that really made me wonder about this, when they took some of these same scientists now that talked about a warming trend, they were worried about an ice age 30 or 40 years ago. That made me wonder, what's going on here. But the reason that we don't do well for libertarians and conservatives is they think that if we don't endorse the EPA, we don't care about the environment. So I think it makes a point that we ought to be much better in defending the environment as property rights people, rather than saying that we have to depend on a bureaucrat from Washington making sure the environment is protected.
Charles.
You're a defender of liberty. Is there any drug you would not legalize under your administration if you were in power? Could I walk into any store and buy marijuana, heroin, meth, or crack cocaine? Is there any that you would?
Well,
Don't allow me to buy on the free market.
Yeah, the way I understand the Constitution, the federal government shouldn't be in this business of legalizing anything, so the federal government shouldn't make anything illegal. But the states have this authority to do it. I mean, the federal government tried to make alcohol illegal, and prohibition doesn't work very well.
Meth and alcohol aren't exactly equivalent.
Well, yeah, I know, but if you compare it to marijuana, alcohol kills a lot more people than marijuana.
I agree, but that's why I mentioned the
my
meth and
position
heroin.
is, to answer your question, my position is the federal government should butt out because they've only been involved in about 100 years and they've sort of messed up. We've spent over $1 trillion in the war on drugs, hasn't done a bit of good. The states still have prerogatives on alcohol. They have it, and they can protect children and do all these things. So yes, there's a way. It's not like when you legalize something, you endorse something. It's just dealing with it in a different manner. So the states would still have a prerogative on dealing with it.
If you're a believer in liberty as a principle, and you are, say, the governor of Texas, why would you, as governor of Texas, any more want to make it illegal to purchase crack than you would if you were the president? I understand the principle of federalism, but as a matter of principle, why would you, as governor, not want to cancel all the laws in Texas that outlaw the purchase of these drugs?
Why would you want to cancel out what the founders gave us in our documents? And it was always legal up until last century, 19.
So you would legalize if you were the governor.
I would
of
let the
Texas.
states do it, and that would be the way that it's supposed to be done. And it was that way. I don't know why we've given up on liberty so soon, because are you going to use it if somebody legalizes something? This whole idea that it's
Depends
legal,
what
you're
you're
all going to be drug addicts.
Depends what you're offering me.
Congressman,
Nobody uses it because it's legal. They use it because it's illegal.